pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Just a reminder to please silence or turn off your cell phone. Amanda, may we have roll call?
Mayor Bain.
Here.
Councillor Gorell. Councillor Lundstrom. Councillor Scalisi.
Here.
Councillor Sherman.
Here.
Councillor Stroud.
Here.
Councillor Spradlin.
Okay, the next item of business is our approval agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion for approval, Councillor Spradlin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin Stroud, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councillor Sherman.
Yes.
Councillor Scalisi.
Yes.
Councillor Stroud.
Yes.
Councillor Spradlin.
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Okay, number 3, approval of agenda. We've all had a chance, approval of minutes, regular meeting for October 10th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'd look for a motion.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Councillor Stroud, motion. Councillor Spradlin, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Councillor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councillor Sherman.
Yes.
Councillor Stroud.
Yes.
Councillor Scalisi.
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak tonight?
Yes.
Matt Gordon, come on up.
Hello, Matt Gordon. I never asked this question. If you live in a different town, do you still have to say your address? Is that a thing?
You do.
Okay,
You do.
I never.
You do.
I do. 15 Pruitt Street, Hill Rose, Colorado.
Okay.
807-323. I had to think about that, but I don't even know where I live.
Mark that down for the
Yeah.
TP crew.
Yeah, that's right in front of the mayor of Hill Rose. That's that.
Oh, there you go.
I actually am just here with one quick item, and I was hoping to just let you guys in on what we got going on Friday. If you didn't know, Trick or Treat Street's happening downtown, closing down the street. We're gonna have over 25 tables committed to pass out candy. We also did a neat little trick this year, asking for candy donations from businesses, and I have more candy than I know what to do with. So we're going to be handing out the biggest handfuls that I have ever seen.
Yay.
I'm so excited for that. But I wanted to personally invite all of you to come hang out this Friday from 4 to 6. Bring your kids, bring your family, bring your friends, come get some candy, and enjoy the festivities.
All right.
That's all I got.
Great.
Matt,
guys.
one question, Matt.
One answer.
So everyone table out front, no one's gonna have the kids come into their businesses then?
So far, no. Tables out front, but then also on the streets. With the streets closing down,
On the
we're
streets.
trying something a little different that I wanted to experiment with for future possibilities, is including more activities and stuff that goes on outside of just passing out candy and hanging out with
Oh,
everybody.
that'd be good.
But as of today, no businesses inside. Although I think Community Development Department will be bringing people inside, and possibly Cornerstone Brokers.
We
So maybe
usually
it's at
make
home
them
now.
come inside.
Do you? Okay, so
but,
3.
But that's just because I'm kind of short-handed. But if it's nice out, I could put a table out front.
So 3.
Yeah.
Ashley was
Understand.
asking that because she was gonna.
She can do that
participate.
if she wants. I guess it's just more along the lines of, as long as people know you're available,
Mm-hmm.
they could come in and come get their candy.
If they're gonna do the tables, they bring their own tables, or you guys providing
Oh,
tables?
bring your own table,
Oh,
please.
tables,
I wish I could
okay.
say that I had 70
Okay.
tables to pass out,
Okay.
but I definitely do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know what the weather report is for Friday?
Man, I was just trying to tell you guys something real quick. Yeah, give me the 3rd degree. No, I honestly don't know what the weather report is. Thank goodness.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I'll be out there in full costume, so I probably won't even feel it, regardless, even if it is cold. But
Right.
any other questions? You guys want my social while you're at it, or no?
Mother's blood time.
Not just
I
me.
wish I would have heard this before Saturday because I bought a whole bunch of candy.
Did you?
Yeah,
That's
so-
good.
So that's
Yeah.
just really we'll use it Sunday too. So
Well, still, businesses are still passing out candy.
Yeah.
Candy sponsorships
Oh,
are directly
so
just for
you're
the chamber. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And so,
okay,
in
perfect.
addition to, you could do both. You could have your table and pass out candy and still donate a bag, and we'll pass out candy on your behalf. What we've done is offer essentially promotions for those people who do that. Social media shout-outs, as well as they'll have a banner featured at our table for the evening for all the candy sponsors.
Great.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
any other questions?
Please no. Cool.
Thank you,
Okay,
Matt.
guys. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 6, management. 6A, it's a first reading on an ordinance. Monty Therese.
Okay, this is ordinance number 892-21, and ordinance approving the leases of certain real estate owned by the city of Brush for terms of 5 years. These are the farm leases that we've discussed, and the only thing that we had been requested to do was provide a copy of what that lease agreement would look like. So that was in your packets. And we're just wanting to go through the process of getting this ordinance put together, so then we can then execute the lease agreements.
Okay, with that, I would need a counselor to introduce the ordinance by title.
I can do it. We'll introduce ordinance number 892-21, an ordinance approving the leases of certain real estate owned by the city of Brush for terms of 5 years.
Okay, so the ordinance has been introduced properly. We look for a motion to approve and publish the ordinance.
So moved.
Okay, Counselor Scalise, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Spradlin?
No.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Okay, moving on to 6B, also first reading ordinance number 893-21. Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, ordinance last time, regarding statement of nuisance, to provide support methods to do so. I spoke with the chief of police last time, and then recently I, spoke with Dale, and we seem to be in agreement, or we're not, correct me if I'm wrong, Dale. So this does seem to be the most efficient way to get things done, so I'm happy to answer your questions you may have.
Any questions, council, on nuisance ordinance? Okay, with that, I'll look for a counselor to introduce the ordinance.
I would move to introduce ordinance 893-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 1 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding administration and abatement of nuisances.
Okay, the ordinance has been introduced. Do I have a motion to approve and publish the ordinance?
So moved.
Okay, Counselor Sherman, motions to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Counselor Spradlin, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Okay, moving on to number 7, finance.
I move we approve disbursements and payroll from October 12th to October 25th, 2021 in the amount of $339,535.79.
Okay, we have a motion to approve for the amount stated. Do I have a second?
Second.
Counselor Spradlin, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Okay, next 7B, we're gonna go through capital improvement requests from the department heads. First, I have Joy Gosling, but I heard Monty's gonna take that.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get started. Just to remind the city council that, these capital sheets, these are all capital sheets that were submitted by all the departments in the city as far as their request. We're just letting everyone know all of those requests. And then what I do is after this meeting, when I start wading through, and I'll visit with each of the department heads to see which ones we truly do need versus which ones are just on the wish list. So we really need those. The other thing is, I might not have grabbed it off. But I was bringing in a copy of the priorities, the city council priorities. And so you might remember some of those priorities, but what we're gonna do, the next step is ensure that we're tying the city council's priorities to these capital projects. Right? And so I think Justin one time talked about how there are all these projects and everything that we have to better determine how we're gonna spend the monies of the city if we're limiting on those funds. And so, that's what I'll be doing, and then, council members, if you have any questions about them, ask each of the presenters, but they typically kind of breeze over these. Different ones, you can read project notes on the sheets, and then the next time that we discuss this will be at the budget retreat on November 10th, I believe it is. And the list will be a lot shorter than what you're seeing tonight. And that is because we're planning for so much of this. So somebody's got to get it narrowed down, so I'll narrow it down to where we can afford the requested projects and purchases. With that.
Thank you. Good evening, council. My first one, this is a continuation of last year from Senate Bill 217 requirements to create a body-worn camera system. So this is year 2 of the 5-year program. The price here is going to go up. I've talked with Monty about that, but we need to increase our storage for body-worn camera video. About 2 weeks ago, I learned that with House Bill 1250, the amendment to 217 did change the retention schedule on how long we have to keep video. So currently, it's 90 days. That is increasing to 1 year. So if I talk to you in the hallway, that video gets retained for a year at a minimum. So our storage needs will go up significantly. I don't have a dollar figure yet, but roughly 10,000 at the very max increase over what this is. Hopefully it's not that much. Page 3, the second one. This is a request. Our building is in pretty old, rough shape. So we have some very necessary improvements. The first one is to replace both of our HVAC systems. We had one go out 3 times this summer. It's limping along, but with lots of conversations, we have the need to replace both. So that's part of this. We have greatly outgrown our evidence storage capacity. So we have an area in the garages up front that we'd like to remodel and create a long-term, much larger evidence storage area. And then in the back, the officer's work area, we have several custom-made cabinets that are falling apart or they're falling in shambles, can't use them. And I can't go to Home Depot and just replace them because it is custom to the space. So that's to replace all that and then redo some of our evidence lockers where the officers turn in their evidence items. Page 4 is our vehicle replacement, and I apologize, it says replace 2 vehicles. That should replace 1 vehicle. We are still waiting for this year's vehicle due to COVID supply chain shortage issues, but I do anticipate getting that yet this year. We are replacing with Ford Explorer hybrid vehicles. It costs roughly $4,000 more than the other patrol cars, but we see that savings after about 1.5 to 2 years in fuel consumption. So I think it's a much better, wiser choice for us. And then the final one is beginning the process of building a new animal shelter. We've definitely outgrown our current one. We did do about $9,000, $10,000 worth of improvements this year. So we now have outside exercise areas for the animals. It's shaded, it's fenced, that's been phenomenal, but that hasn't fixed the space problem. And we are at or above space every day. So this is just to begin that first phase of architectural design and engineering design, looking at a new location, tentatively out near the fire training center, somewhere out there. So that's all I've got.
That's one thing I want to tell. I talked to Lisa today and talked about that, and invited any counselors that haven't been out to see where we house our animals. I would encourage you to take that tour and to see what we have out there. Because I would advocate for this project. I think it is something that is sorely needed in brush, so,
We also talked about just being a little closer to town.
yeah.
Every trip saves you over 5 minutes. Driving down the county road.
5 minutes. The other day, we had somebody on their way out there, and they called 911 because they thought we were trying to lead them astray and abduct them or something, I don't know.
When Lisa took me out there, I thought, where is she? I did not know it was that far out of town, and she told me the same thing. People
panic.
they turn around and go the other way because they're not sure where they're being taken. So, all right. Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Lance Schwint. Parks, Recreation, Golf Course, Cemetery.
Our first one here, I'm gonna pass this out. This is something that Dwight would like a little bit more information on.
Good.
As you guys know, Dwight is retiring, and he's been, a big part of the cemetery for several years. Also, Miranda has taken over as city clerk, and that's probably 4 or 5 city clerks we've had in the last 20 years also. So there's a lot of different methods that we've done as far as recording cemetery plots and everything like that. And so to try to transition from one person to the next, there's going to be different approaches that are made and everything. And when doing that, when you're dealing with something as sensitive as cemetery records, mistakes can be made. So this cemetery software would allow us to, it would be stored in the cloud, customers and staff could see it in real time, and there wouldn't be as much handwritten record keeping as like we do right now. I think this is, of all my priorities, this is a big one for me because with Dwight leaving and just talking to Miranda and the processes that are taken, it's just a really important thing that we get it right. If you mess up a funeral, it's not a good thing. So I'm just really hoping that we're able to find the funding to get the cemetery software, and I think we would be good for many years to come. On top of that, it is $35,000, but I am also requesting half of the funding from the foundation, but at no means is there any guarantee that I will get that funding. The foundation has made it aware to me that they do find it a very important and worthy project, but again, they're kind of into the visual things, and this is more of the software stuff. So we hope. But I'm, asking council that to really consider the cemetery software.
This was on last year's request too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Dwight talked to me about it too. And my understanding is when somebody comes in to purchase a plot, it has to be recorded in about 6 or 7 different areas. And this software would you could
be a
punch
one-step
one in and it would
process.
populate it everywhere. And his concern, and mine was too after talking to him, I can't imagine having a conversation with a family that comes out for a funeral and finds out that we've either dug a grave in the wrong spot because it was recorded wrong in some way. Well, we've done such a good job, I think, over the last few years of these, I call them like kind of an IT thing, it's a computer thing, of improving our processes and our efficiencies. And Dwight even said, I know he's leaving in a couple of weeks.
He informed me, hey Lance, this is my last Monday. So
okay.
On Friday he'll be done.
When I talked to him, if this project would be approved, he told me, because he's been so heavily involved, and he considers it his cemetery. And I'm thinking, a guy that's worked here this long and is leaving, and this is so important to him that he's leaving, and I know it's important, is that he would come back and even help get those records in place.
Yeah.
And if we can improve the efficiency and the time staff spends doing this and improve the process, I say fine.
And there was a portion of it that is scanning our old records, and because last year the price was a little bit more than this, but then Dwight would be willing to actually stay on and help scan the old records and verify that we're where we need to be.
what do we do now if say someone comes from out of town, they wanna know, cause I had to do this recently in Denver. I think most places, maybe it's bigger cities, but they can tell you exactly where the grave is. My understanding is we kind of point an area on the map, is that what
Yeah,
we do?
as long as the map is updated, which is difficult to do because usually, and Miranda jump in there if I'm wrong, we don't update the map daily, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, it's not, this will be at real time, so if anybody did come in, they'd be able to see it. Like right now, when Miranda would find some free time, she'll update the map. That's all handwritten and everything, and so there's quite a bit to it.
Yeah, the place that I went to gave me an app for my phone, and I punched in the name and walked to the grave.
Oh, really?
GPS, and I don't know if that's something you're
I
considering.
don't know if that was involved in there. I don't think the GPS was in there.
It can't.
It can be.
You have that option.
You do have the option, okay.
Oh, I thought
That
that,
sounds like the best idea so far.
Yeah.
the GPS?
Yeah, the GPS one, and I say that because, people's time is valuable to them, right?
Yeah.
So if they can just know that they can just read the app and go straight out there,
They don't-
have to come to City Hall.
Right.
They call me and just say, yeah, just load this app.
No, that'd be great. So really, we're really thinking this is the time to pull the trigger on this one and move forward with that. The very next one is a new greens mower at the golf course. We took over the golf course 7 years ago, and during that time, we got a greens mower, a used greens mower that was 14 years old when we purchased it, because we were trying to go all used at that point. This is another item that we are in need of, and the foundation said that they would be involved in the purchase of this too. Our timing's always tough this time of year because the foundation doesn't make a choice until December, so I'm telling you that they're interested, but I can't tell you for sure that they'll pay for half. And most of our funding from the foundation is 50-50, so the city would submit half of it, and then the foundation would give the other half. So.
Is this the full price here, or
Yeah,
is it half?
$35,000 would be the full price.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The next one is a roller, and actually this is it is in conjunction with the greens mower, and what the roller does is it creates a truer life for the green, and also when you use the roller, then you're not having to mow as much, which then saves on the reels and everything else for the greens mower. So in theory, our greens mower should last longer if we get the attachment of the roller to go along with it. And again, that's another one. This is more of a wish type deal, and that's why I said unless we get the $10,000 from the foundation, I wouldn't really consider it a worthy project for us. The next one is upgrades within the clubhouse at the golf course. And we had a golf advisory board meeting last month, and we discussed that we've done a lot there at the golf course. We've upgraded the inside, we've done a lot of the parking lot. The one thing that we didn't really touch was the restrooms that were in there, and at times they're a little dingy and everything. So we think that we could put some money and upgrade the restroom facility upstairs by the banquet room, and also that back area of the kitchen is kind of dead space. It's not really, and so we want to do some upgrades in the back of the kitchen to give us some more room and various things there. Again, this is another one where unless the foundation would be willing to pay for half the cost, we would be. I don't know if the city would want to take on the full $40,000 for the upgrade. So
Is that the one that includes a pizza oven?
that would also include a pizza oven. Yes.
I've had so many people coming to me saying Rush needs a pizza place.
Yeah, which would be nice, and that would be a cool thing there, and they're really not too expensive. It'd be more of us building additional space to house that pizza oven.
Oh, I see.
The next one is a item that got denied last year.
but we are needing a new mower within our parks and cemetery. Again, the prices have went up a little bit, so it went from 28,000 to 33,000. We do need this. This is one also that I have submitted already to the foundation, and during our meeting, they sounded very positive towards it, that they would be willing to maybe pay for half this lawnmower also. So, but that's kind of a wait and see thing. I didn't put a match on this one because we really do need that lawnmower for our parks and cemetery. And then, again, this is the purchase, the removable cab and snow blower that would go on that lawnmower. When snow comes, we're able to make it into a snow blower and put a cab on it. Again, it's been submitted to the foundation, so this would be another one where right now it says 18,500, but it would be cut in half if the foundation decided that they would want to be a part of this project.
Who do we have do snow removal now at the golf course? Is it
Our
city?
parks.
We do
Yeah,
ourselves.
we about 4 or 5 years ago, we bought the blade to go in front of our
Oh, that's right.
vehicle.
Okay.
And so they do that, they do the fire department, and then they, at one time they did the ambulance barn, but since they built the new ambulance barn, we don't do that anymore unless they fall behind and they need help. But
Okay.
that's what we use that new blade for. Here is the, and I should have put a match on this one too. This is the shelter that's be right next to the swimming pool. This is another one where we've requested half the funding from the foundation. This past year, or actually this past week, we have poured concrete bases and we have musical playground equipment that's all around it. And so that'll be available. We just didn't get it in again, COVID. It took us forever to get that playground equipment in. But they're putting that in as we speak. But we're also asking the foundation for half that, 88,000, to put that new shelter in. That would be another nice large shelter to go along with our new shelter for rentals and all that sort of thing, up there by the swimming pool area and the playgrounds. Another one there at the golf course is to finish the paving and everything for the parking lot. Right now, we've pretty much got almost all of it done, but we do have right in front of the cart barns, it's still dirt. We'd like to finish that concrete out, and then in between the two cart barns, put a crushed asphalt area down. We have water lines that go through there, so I don't want to go concrete in case we ever have a leak or anything. It's just crushed asphalt that we'll be able to bring the water lines up through. And so this is another project that the foundation was interested in, and we were in discussions with that as we speak. So that's what I have so far.
Any questions?
And just on another note with the foundation, I did talk to Kirk. He indicated to me that, I gave him this initial list here, and then he said, well, is there any other projects? And so there might be another 4 or 5 projects, and I said, well, I wouldn't be able to supply match money for those 4 or 5 projects, because we'll send them to us anyway. We'll look at them on an individual basis and let you know. So this sounds pretty promising, but above and beyond that, there's some additional money and everything too that looks pretty favorable. So.
Very good. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
Next up, Dale Colbert. Well, let me give you your intro here. Let's see. Oh, it just says Director of Public Works. Here we go. Streets, water, trash, wastewater, stormwater. So no wonder Dale has so many projects. Okay, go ahead, Dale.
Well, as a quick side note, and I might be dating myself a little bit, when I first entered into municipal employment, you could not be considered a true wastewater plant unless you had a dog pound with it.
Oh!
Rush, Weatherford Morgan, Sterling,
Yeah.
Julesburg, dog pound was at the wastewater plant. So that's where it's located there.
Is that right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Real quick, the first 5 items I'm going to talk about will be partially 2A funded. That is our street funds for repairing and upkeep of streets. First one is going to be Road and Mill and Overlay Hospital Road, as well as Mill Street. closely at what we're planning, what the intention is we're going to mill down about 2¼ inches and come back and pave in another 2 inches on top of it. We've had several slurry coats put on it that have now been failing on the very first initial layers and causing spalling. I think we've all seen the little potholes that have been occurring on Hospital Road and Mill Street. So the intent is to mill it down to the good base and then put another overlay on it, not unlike what we did here, what CDOT did here on US 34. Next item will be a full depth reconstruction of Sample Street. Currently, the base and subgrade is failing on that, so we would like to go in, we're currently doing the engineering and the geotechnical on that in order to determine what we need to do to really make that a very good, firm subgrading base, and so the pavement will hold up much better than what we currently have. The next item will be the preservation of various streets. In 2020, we saw quite a few of our streets being seal coated. That was just a foundation for what we did this year, and that is putting a coat of slurry seal over the east-west streets. Next year we intend to do our north-south streets as well as a few others throughout Brush.
Just for a point, this is one of the priorities for the city council.
And then next we have a install curb, gutter, and sidewalk and pave the 200 block of East Merle Street. One of our objectives with the 2A funds were to be able to pave some of our dirt roads that we currently have, or some of our dirt streets, and this is one of those dirt streets that we would like to continue to work on. We currently have the survey done, we're having the engineering done, plus we're having some geotechnical work done on it as well, so we can have that done. Next would be some alleyway improvement behind the 200 block of Clayton Street between Clayton and Cameron. Currently, it's pretty rough and getting in bad condition. We would like to be able to get in there and remove that asphalt and get a nice pavement back down in there, plus potentially get some stormwater improvements done there as well.
This is one that we had committed to the people when we did the 2A. Dan was on that committee, and we had a map that we used to, sell the idea. And even though it's not like an official map, we still use that as far as the projects that we wanted to get to. And the 4 alleys, 2 alleyways on each side of the highway, on each side of Clayton, are the ones that we have targeted over the years. So it's gonna take a while to get there.
Is that, just a quick question, I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure. On the east side of the cemetery, on the north part of the cemetery and the east side, that dirt road, is that county?
Yes.
That's not city.
That's North Ray.
That's different.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I'd also like to caveat these first 5 projects on the availability of oil, because this year they were running short on oil in order to do pavement work. And also caveat that on the ability to get a contractor. That's one of the reasons why this alleyway has been rolled over for the last couple of years, is being able to get a contractor in time to get released on their schedule. And these were also projects that I will probably be coming to council looking for some bid awards this year, because I was informed if we don't get bids out this year and get them awarded, there's a slim chance of getting on their project for next year, simply because of one, supply chain issues with oil, as well as a lot of these contractors having the same exact employment problems that the rest of us are feeling.
Okay.
So we really have to start early on these projects to get these completed next year. And so with that, we'll move on to Capital Reserve Fund. We're looking at, this year we were really planning on looking at replacing one of our trucks in 2022, one of our dump trucks. After long conversation with our mechanic, our chassis on all 4 of our dump trucks are in really good shape. The motors are good, the transmissions are good, the frames, everything about them are in really good shape. Where we're seeing a lot of the damage and wear and tear is on the boxes. In which case we've looked at Colt in Sterling and discussed this with them, and being able to replace these boxes for a fraction of the price of what we were looking at replacing an entire dump truck. For example, we're looking right around 4,700 being requested per box. Dump truck goes anywhere from 160 to 180,000. So if we are able to upgrade our boxes on 3 of them, that's all we're looking at, because we have the new Mack truck box looking good, it's holding up well. However, the other 3 dump trucks are not doing very well at all. They're getting damaged. So what we would like to do is just have new boxes constructed and fitted onto our 3 existing dump truck chassis, and hopefully these will extend the life of us having to rotate out these vehicles the way we have been. Next one is replacement of our skid loader. We currently have a 2014 Bobcat skid loader. We use this very extensively in our day-to-day operations, and of course, like most equipment that you use a lot, it's starting to show its age and its wear and tear. I currently show that we were looking at our initial projections of 70,000. When we turned these sheets in, it was right around 80,000. I have word, just recently got word that it's going to be significantly less than that, and so I will be going to administration with some of these newer numbers. So don't look at that 80,000 too closely. We're going to cut that down. Next one is going to be trade out the front end loader. We currently try to trade out our front end loader every 3 to 5 years. This keeps us in good equipment, new equipment that functions properly. And the other part to that is by being able to trade them out in this rotation schedule, we really get a good trade-in value for what we have. So that helps knock the price down as well. This piece of equipment tends to be utilized by a lot of the different departments, so we'll be asking the other departments to help fund this rotation of the front end loader. Moving on to the water fund, this is a rollover project that's ongoing, and that is replacement of fire hydrants throughout the city. Just like anything mechanical, they are subject to wear over time and age, and so not only are they important for firefighting purposes, but also to help maintain our water system and keeping it flushed and clean. And this is a multi-year project. This is not something that's just one and done. Next one is also an ongoing project. It's not a one and done. We are looking at replacing our water meters and water meter reading equipment. It's been over 20 years since we've replaced our water meters, and being mechanical like they are also subject to wear and tear. And contrary to anybody who's got a big water bill, water meters don't go faster, they only go slower. And so we're losing revenue by utilizing these older mechanical style meters. The meters that we are replacing are electronic type magnetic meters. Don't get too technical, but there is no moving parts. It's all electronic, and they're extremely accurate for 20 years. So this is an ongoing rollover project, and again, we are plagued by supply chain problems with this as well. So we're moving it further down the road. Moving on to our wastewater fund, we are looking at the purchase of a new portable hydraulic unit. This is a small hydraulic pack that we use. We use it for running hydraulic pumps as well as other equipment. One of the issues that we have at the wastewater plant, we have a lot of deep tankage, and anybody who knows physics, you can't lift water more than 28 feet. So you have to have that pump down in the bottom of these basins and some of these other areas, and so and then lift it up and out. We currently have a hand-me-down from the water department, but this one at the wastewater plant is starting to show signs of wear. We've had to repair it twice, and so we're looking at purchasing a new. Next item on the wastewater is a pickup replacement, and this will be the replacement of a 2009 Chevy Colorado. Every 3 years, both water and wastewater, we try to purchase a pickup, and that way, with the 3 of them that we have, it's usually about anywhere from a 9 to a 12-year rotation on these vehicles. But it's starting to show some wear and some mileage on it, and so we're looking at wanting to replace that as well.
Are you replacing it with a full-size truck or a small?
More than likely a full-size truck.
Palmer of 50,000.
That's what I thought. I
Well,
thought that too.
that used to be good,
Yeah.
so we might we'll be looking at that number figure as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I agree.
Next one is going to be the replacement of the Influent pumps. Influent, fancy name for the wastewater coming into a wastewater treatment facility. These pumps are the first ones in line to handle the wastewater, which is very aggressive. Keeping in mind, when you build a wastewater plant, you design it for a 20-year lifespan, and we are already 10 years into that, and this is where we're going to start seeing equipment that's going to be needed to be replaced slowly as time goes on, because it's an ongoing replacement. That it's an ongoing replacement that always has to occur in some of these facilities because of the aggressiveness of the water that we're dealing with.
So is the request to replace?
Just one this year,
One this
one
year?
the year after that, and one the year after
Okay,
that.
I see, 22, 23, 20, okay.
Next item will be out of the wastewater fund is the replacement of the irrigation pivot out at the English farm. This is one of our farms. The wastewater facility helped purchase this farm with the intent to use it as a biosolids disposal site. That is still currently our plan, that once we start getting that kind of a loading coming through our facility, that we have to move these biosolids to other sites. This is where we're planning on going. Currently, the one we have out there is galvanized. It's really old, and it's starting to show a lot of wear. The tenant out there has indicated to me the filter that screens everything prior to going up into the pivot itself is starting to show a lot of rust, and we're getting rust inside the nozzles as well as the ends, and it has to be flushed out regularly just to keep things operating. And so the intent is to replace it with an aluminum one instead of the galvanized. Next item is replacement of wastewater samplers. This one here, we currently use 3 automatic wastewater samplers there and maintain them. These are out in the facility, one for our biosolids, one for our influent, and one for our effluent, that is the discharge water. And as with any equipment, this here is electronic, it gets worn, it has mechanical parts, and they tend to wear out, and they're not cheap. However, the alternative is to spend a dedicated individual to having to take these samples at regular intervals throughout the day, twice a week, 52 weeks a year. So with that, thank you. Any questions? Comments?
Thank you, Gail. Thank you. Next up, Rick Quigley, Community Development, Marketing, and Airport.
Well, good news is my requests are definitely a fraction of what he's doing right now. So I calculated up Dale's.
That's not fair.
1.853 million. And I'll just stop there, but that's fine.
Ours are more important because they cost.
You know what to pay for.
It's big stuff. So I always feel embarrassed to ask because there's so much of priorities here, and mine are small, and it's like, are they really serious? I'd say they are. I'm just
Yes.
kidding.
Fight for what you believe in, Rick.
I have a feeling that, well, the first one is our Christmas, and we presented this last year. That was a 3-year plan, and you saw the results last year. We're building onto that. We're still focusing on downtown, and it's really exciting. Everyone loves it. And I'm just grateful that you guys believed in it, and it is still happening. So we've got more displays that we're going to put out, the fiberglass ones. It's going to be at the bump outs. It's adding more to the theme of come downtown, take pictures with this, bring families, and it's exciting. But we're proposing this year to spend 20, and then next year to do 40, because supply chains are so wrecked right now that a lot of things that we were trying to do we can't do. So it was going to be 30,000 each year, but we just couldn't get a lot of things that we're trying. And some of it also is dependent on getting the poles worked on so that we can plug things into the poles, and fixing the problem with the tree wells. And so we've got a couple models. These conferences have taken me out to see different things, and so it's been good to see how other cities are doing it. So I think we got some great ideas of what we can do and model after what they're doing. But we got to fix the electrical problem. If not, then we're gonna.
Is that gonna be something you anticipate we'll have in place this Christmas?
We'll be
Some
able
of the work?
Yes, we'll be able to do some of the poles on Clayton Street for sure.
Okay.
So we've already got that at bid. But the tree wells, we're not gonna have time to do it this year, so we'll put that on for next year. So that's the Christmas plan, is to continue to add on, bringing value back to the downtown. And so that's that. Second is, part of the destination, we want people to come to Brush. And we've got some amazing gyms here that most people have heard of, but really haven't seen them firsthand. But actually, updating the signage so that it's easier to see and know what to do. Even I went to Steamboat this weekend and saw some of the signage that they used in one of their big parks for birding, and I was stunned by it, just how nice. And it wasn't super elaborate, but it was just well done. And I took pictures of it, and I was thinking, man, we could do that easily at Brush. We have, one of the best pheasant places in Colorado, and yet nobody knows about it. Or we may know about it, but everyone else doesn't. So it's like we have an opportunity to really showcase that for hunting and for birding, for people to come. And we're trying to do some birding events with the county, but we're just not. We weren't ready, and so we're trying to get ready so that we can do big events with the county. And it's an insignificant compared to these gentlemen over here. So just keep that in mind.
When you say birding, like bird watching?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, bird watching. But these are, you can Google birding. It's a retirement kind of community who has lots of wealth and they will spend it. And so it's like thinking of how we can capitalize on getting people here who have money that would like to be able to use our facilities, and then maybe start using the downtown to increase the marketing of that, using that. So, so there are two sites is what I'm proposing: the Brush Prairie Ponds, and then the Brush Wildlife Area. So doing both of the new signage to encourage.
Is there things you can do, I don't know if you learned about this when you were in Steamboat, but are there things you can do to bring in different kinds of birds that we might not already have, or
Just bird seed.
Yeah, it's more of like letting people see what's really here, and giving pictures and places where those types of birds would be on our sites already. So we have them. It's just being able to see them.
I think there are 126 species.
Yeah.
We actually have here. We had a guy.
It's high.
That when we did the bird watching trail about 10 years ago. What was his name?
Can't remember.
But anyway, he was a birdie, and I had no idea we had that many species of birds and everything. But he would do tours and everything like that. So that would be something.
Is that the Audubon Society?
we need to do a city council field trip because, I keep hearing about it, but I don't even know where to go.
It's incredible.
So cool.
Pete Walker.
As a hunter, I would just like to say I wish nobody knew about it.
I knew that would be your opinion, Justin.
I wish nobody. It's so hard to get into the prairie ponds. Oh my god.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think you have to do it within so many weeks in advance, and you can't do it like before that. So like there's a time period. I want to say it's 6 weeks in advance, or 60 days, or something like that. And if you're not up at midnight, like the day before that Saturday you want to go out, or the 60 days before that Saturday you want to go out, you are not getting.
Justin, are you aware that we have a lottery program out there, and if you're a city resident, we have the
Two ponds are reserved.
Yeah.
And it's a draw system, so a lot of information about it, but Rick, let's do a little PowerPoint in the near future.
This is big time, guys.
Yeah, because there's a lot of history about the whole bird watching trail, the initiatives that we've tried in the past.
Prairie ponds are amazing.
Yeah.
We had, we did this at Excel plant out there, and they told me the Audubon Society was coming out, so that we had kestrels and a few things like that. The control room operator had to let them in through the gate. We were amazed at how many people come out and do bird watching. It is a big thing, so if we've got that many species, maybe it is something we should look at.
Yeah, we've got the statistics on the average ages, the average wealth, things like that. So we'll put it into just for knowledge, entertainment type stuff.
Those are great ideas.
You just remember, it's not that much.
It's just a fraction.
It's not, yeah, it's
It's
not
a
that
fraction
much.
of the budget.
Okay. Okay, next up we have the fire department requests.
Okay, I'll go through these for Tad. The first one, Derek, I remember now what I was gonna ask you. Do you guys have a drone?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about your drone real quick. That's why I was looking for you, and well, I found you, but I forgot what I was gonna ask you.
Story of my life. I forget what I'm doing all the time. So we have a very robust drone program. I would say it's the best in probably northeast Colorado. We have four drones. We have one that is capable of flying, I think, 6 miles away from the operator. It has thermal capabilities as well as live video camera capabilities. We have a second one that is basically the same without the thermal capabilities. And then we have a smaller one that is really for interior work. It's got guards on the propeller so you can fly it inside a building without hitting a wall and getting caught twigs and crashing like we did before. And then the fourth drone we have is like first generation drone. It's very useful for practicing and learning how to fly. The camera, you can kind of say like it's lighter, it's darker, that's about it. So it's not a great quality camera, but it's great for learning how to fly.
Okay, so my note on this, the first one from the fire department is fire department drone for $22,000. And before we do much with this, I wanted you and Tad to get together. Instead of having a fifth drone, is the thermal one you have good enough for what they're needing? And then doing cross-training, so there's always someone available to use it, because it's more likely that working here, you guys will be around to operate it, versus if volunteers came out, they didn't have an operator.
So quickly on that, I do not know what is in their drone request. So I would say yes, our capabilities would meet what they're looking for, but I don't actually know what they're looking for.
Yeah, so I want you to visit with Chief Anderson.
And we are doing a drone training class region-wide in June. So they're going to be fun.
$22,000 drone, one hell of a drone.
Yeah, so that's what caught my
I
eye.
got one that'll go 4 miles, has a 4K camera, and I can put it in my backpack. And it was like $1,000.
So, right. So we're gonna research that one, but that was on their list.
Apply to one.
The next item on page 37 is a 1-ton crew cab pickup and enclosed trailer, and that's for $75,000. And on that, I just put a note that we need to have a joint meeting with the rural fire board to see if they will cost share with us on either of those two. Going to page 38, this is the continuation of the fire training center. And the only thing I did to this one was I added an additional $30,000 to the numbers that they had, because usually when you do these projects, the cost that we have quoted is what the unit cost, but doing the groundwork and everything's probably gonna have some cost to it as well. So that is fire department.
One of the things I wanted to bring up to council is we had the meeting with the rural board probably 4 or 5 months ago to talk about the cost sharing of some of these projects. And the history has been, since 2018 when I took over as mayor, is that the rural fire board and staff and members of the fire department would meet here at City Hall and go over some of the requests. Now with COVID, that didn't happen last year, and I believe the year before. And I'm not sure where we stand on this, but I agree with Monty, is when we get these requests, I'm concerned about the partnership that we have with the rural fire board and making sure that these requests aren't just coming to the city, but we need to know what kind of partnership we have. Because when I look at the fire training facility, do I think it's a good thing for a fire department? Yes, I do. But when I look at the numbers that we're going to be spending for the fire department training facility and the partnership that we have with the rural fire board is, their contribution to that facility is to do groundwork, is to do excavation. I don't consider that really to be a partner. I mean, I would make a deal with anybody in this room to say, let's go buy a plot of land and let's go build a house. And I'll tell you what, I'll excavate and I'll landscape it. You build the house and we'll share it. So I think we really, and I don't know if we morphed into having the rural fire board and the council meet on these projects, but I think we need to separate this out because of that partnership and either have a joint meeting like Monty's talking, or if we're not going to do that, then go back to having the rural board and staff and part of the rural fire board there to talk about the project, to decide which ones they think are worth merit before they come to council.
And we can try and get another meeting with them, joint meeting, council and the board prior to the tenth, if it works on their end and on council's end, just to be able to keep having these discussions and try to keep that on track of partnerships.
Because a lot of these things are going to be mutually beneficial to both parties. So, but I want to get their take on this, but I feel like if they come to our side, I don't know what's being said on the other side, and we need to all be at the table.
Just two projects for me to bring up. The first one is a carryover from 2021, which would be to give an update to council chambers. And then the second one is a new one. And we've all seen, I don't know if you've watched the video from the meetings where we've had some inconsistency with the sound quality. And in some cases it's been pretty poor or not there at all. So what I'm looking for in 2022 is to start replacing some of the equipment that's responsible for that, our microphones primarily. We have some additional behind the scenes equipment too, but I don't really need to speak up for 2022. And then also what we want to do is look forward down the road to what options we have out there, what more updates can we do with our sound or audio visual, and then also what can we do to accommodate quality. We start thinking about that both in the council chambers and online.
Oh, you mean making the space ADA compliant? Do we know what?
So one example would be the sound here in council chambers. We have someone in here who's hearing impaired. Can they really, we don't really have an accommodation for that.
Oh, I understand, okay.
And then on video online, probably just captioning, just the captioning.
Okay.
Does this tie in with the website, the ADA compliance on the website? The laws that changed this last year, actually a few months ago.
By 2024, it will affect, it will greatly impact our website. But I'm just kind of anticipating, right now on our agenda where it says to contact the city clerk 24 hours in advance of the meeting if you need accommodation. There's really not a whole lot we can do to accommodate.
Okay.
So that would be one way to ensure that we don't.
There is closed captioning on the YouTube app too, though, for that end of it. You can turn that on and off. I'm assuming as long as they can hear it, because it populates it somehow. As long as there's good audio, I think the closed captioning should work where we're posting it. But.
And if we were to go to like live streaming or something, I don't know if it would be YouTube. I haven't started all of that research yet to know what all's out there, but the conference I just came from, they had several different options, and I'm actually kind of surprised at what all found there.
Live streaming might be kind of neat too, because that might give us the opportunity to have people do like comments
Kevin, that's right up your
from home.
wheelhouse,
And then we
right?
might get a little
Outreach,
more,
yeah.
because people aren't always
Yeah.
comfortable coming in here, standing in front of people,
Yes.
or maybe the ability to record the comment and then we can listen to it on the podcast.
Yeah, I think that's
It might increase our interaction with people.
Oh,
It's a good
And
idea.
we've been talking about upgrading like chambers since 2018.
right, we have. Okay, next up, Monty Therese.
Okay, and then these are kind of like miscellaneous ones that I put together, so they might not necessarily be administrative. So you'll see the different funds. Some are water funds, wastewater funds. A lot of them are projects that are ones that are shared, between funds. The first one is out at the Brush Agro Park. The agreement we have with CDOT, we could put the Brush Agro Park out there and make an entrance, but we need to put in approximately 300 to 400 foot deceleration lane to go into that park. And special notes on this is that, we're gonna seek ready grants for this, potentially just transition grants, energy impact funds. And we also got word that another governmental entity is interested in the property out there, so maybe with them, we could get them to pay for part of this as well. Next one is the access road and utility improvements to the fire training center. This is not just for the fire training center, so it's spread amongst a handful of funds. And also this is, to get sewer out there to the building, and then also put in a road out there that leads to the fire training center. But then at some point in time, that road will cut to the north, connect to Brush Agri Park Road, the one that's there. And again, this is one that will seek a few different types of grants to help with this project.
It shows 150,000 grant. Is that JT, I'm assuming just transition?
That could be
Possible?
any of them.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know which one yet. I just had to take an
Oh, okay.
estimate of what we do.
Okay.
And 150 was the maximum on the ready grant last cycle. But I did hear that might be going up for us because we're a just transition community. Community is going to be impacted by the closure on the power plant or modification. Page 45 is the middle school well project. This is a partnership with the school district. I don't know how that partnership's going to form, but Dell's working with water engineers and attorneys to make sure that we can do this. Once that's all completed this year, then we should roll into next year with designing the water out there, the well out there. And the intent is not to have the middle school grounds back on city water long term. So protect our high quality water, put this on regular well water right here on site. Potentially partner with the library to get the water down to the library and irrigate their property, and the three mediums that we have there on Clayton Street. Get those off of high quality water, go to ag water. We also have on page 46 a digital marquee on the old middle school property. I don't know if this one's gonna happen, but we do have interest from the J.N. and Pettis Foundation for a cost share on it. But the idea would be to put in a digital marquee right there where the stoplight is at. And we're also encouraging CDOT to take the old stoplight out, put in a more attractive stop sign or traffic signal. And right there is vehicles have to stop. They have time to look over and see what's going on in the community. So nothing's in stone on this one yet. It's just we're working towards that. So that is in the community. That's the plan.
Moni, do you think we're pretty safe as far as keeping that traffic signal in place there?
Yeah, I talked to Kevin Cass. No, Larry Cass. And he's the consultant working on this. So right now what they're tracking on is downtown Clayton Street. Those traffic signals are being studied currently. They're supposed to reach out to Dell and I and before we make any final decisions. And our request is to modernize those, but make them black so they match the other light poles downtown. And then he said there has been no other discussions yet on that traffic signal by the middle school.
Because there's still kids from the other side of Colorado that cross there, and I would just like to keep it there as a maybe way of keeping speeding down on that road.
I sent a letter to them, and our request was, don't take it out, or take it out but replace it with something better technology so you can control the timing of it, and that way you won't stop it too often. And then if you have the sensors, if they detect a vehicle coming in from east and west, then it can signal the light to change lights. That was a request. Last item was remodel of the back office space, and a lot of that is to better utilize the space in the back. With COVID, we were supposed to spread everyone out further. We really can't do it to all the specifications of what the state and CDC had as far as guidelines, but we can get a lot better, and then 25 years, because then we wanted to create a break room and put that where King Dykes is at now, and then put it back to the back, not by the wall, but where our break area is up now.
Okay. All right, that completes the capital project request, so we'll go ahead and move on to staff reports
I
now.
did have one more comment.
Oh.
The other comment was, so, when I mentioned earlier about take this list, we already have a spreadsheet pulled together, where I look at how much everything costs. I visited with the department heads, but also the financial guidelines that the city council adopted years ago. That's in the front part of your budget. You guys might remember this, it was 6 or 8 different items that Joanne usually presents on and will present again on the 10th. I look at those guidelines to make sure we can afford it, keep the right amount of capital reserves in place, so we have so many months of operating costs in case of emergency, because there are some of those funds that are by law, you have to keep a certain percentage for a rainy day, in case of emergency happens. And then we've always tried to use good practices, 3 months or better of operating cost reserve. We've always exceeded that. We've always shot for the target of about 6 months. So that's what I'm doing. Okay.
Rick Robley, Assistant City Administrator.
All right, I get 14, you think? I'm just kidding. I can hear Joanne in my ears. Stakeholders, we had a meeting today, it was great. That meeting was normally an hour, but lasted 2 hours, so glad I went there. But it's good to hear what's going on in all of our jurisdictions. COVID seems to, there is a number of cases going on, and it seems to be all Delta related, but even with the kids, there's still a lot, but there's none that's been hospitalized. So I thought that was a good sign. That it is up right now with the youth, but it's not, many kids are bouncing back, so it's not affecting the way that you would hear from the media kind of thing. But overall, I thought it was a good meeting. It's good that we're still talking about economic development and things like that. I met with Laura today, talking about the lighting of the tree and where we're talking about doing it. So we're in the process of trying to make that a fun event, and we're not trying to compete with Fort Morgan and their parade and things like that. But we do have stuff here, and we're trying to capitalize on what we've done in the past. So we're in the process of meeting. We'll probably talk again this Thursday after we've all got homework assignments to kind of come back. So most likely have the mayor come and say some things, and then we'll do the light up. But we'll have many of the activities going on that same night. And we talked about caroling and a hayride and all those kind of things. So it'll be fun, family-oriented, and fire pits and all that kind of stuff like we've done in the past. And we'd like to get the Lions Club involved too. So. Oh, several Lions up here. We have
three Lions up there.
Let's see, Christmas lights, we're in the process of doing that stuff right now. We purchased things. We'll probably get Dale to help us start installing things soon, but that's going great. 3 housing developments. So I've got one that's submitted official application, and that one is it's Westwood, 204 units, single family, which we've been talking about, but that's this weekend they submitted the preliminary plat, so it is moving forward. They'll pay tomorrow, and then we're going to determine a time to rezone that, probably next week or the following. So they want to do it separately. They don't want to do it like they did last time. I think it freaked them out a lot, so we're going to just do one stage at a time and kind of move forward. The next one is Wiseguardian Mill. That's a North Point Development Corporation. That's going to be 50 affordable housing apartment units, or units of apartments, affordable housing. We have conferenced. They want to do another formal conference and then submit an application. so they're submitting, they're already starting their engineering works, they've submitted some things, which Mayor, you're welcome to come by and look and talk, but I know Monty and I are in discussions. So that's moving forward, and then Ty Jackson has purchased, or is it in the last realm of that? I don't know if it's been purchased yet, but it's gonna be Central School, and they're talking about 30 units of housing for the affordable housing as well. And then that would be the top floor. The bottom floor, they're not decided, they haven't decided yet, but it'll be something that child care facility, brewery, or something like that is what he's talking about. But these are still concept ideas.
I thought Matt Gordon's thought they were closing November 10th.
Okay, I think that is November 10th, so a couple weeks. So that's housing wise. I came back from the conference, which I mentioned earlier from Steamboat. It was great just to hear. It was a think tank is what I think the best part is, like hearing across the state what people are doing, how they're going through COVID, what are funds that they're going after, and then meeting other people in the same position was great, just the networking aspect, and then going on tours to see things. So I stopped in many towns on the way back, because it's like, when am I going to have a chance to do this? And so I took advantage of it.
Did you say tours?
Yeah.
That's the first accent I've heard you say tours. We say tours. Okay, tours, okay.
The 18-acre site, which is the northwest section on Hospital Road past the interstate, that one was purchased, and the developer wants to put a truck wash, a hotel, and fast food restaurants, which I know on Brush Concerned Citizens, there's a bunch of hype about Chick-fil-A. That is not true. They are looking at a Chick-fil-A, but there's been no confirmation, so I'm just letting you know. I would hear first, and it's just a rumor at this point. Have they talked to him? Yes, they have reached out, but there's nothing confirmed about it. It's a very lengthy process to get a Chick-fil-A. But they are looking at several different. I know Monty went to Taco Bell really bad. A firehouse. No. I was told all you need is like 10,000 population to get a firehouse sub, so you need to make that happen.
Firehouse subs,
Yes.
they're good.
I know they are.
They are
You've
good.
talked about it, so.
Mhm.
And then lastly, just last update is, I have met with Bill Wilson once to discuss all of the traffic issues, and we are in discussions of the bus entrance. He has submitted plans already, and so he is taking it pretty serious in dealing with the negative impacts of creating a parking lot for parents to come, so that would take them out of that line. And then now the other two is just where the new entrances would be. And so we're in discussions. I feel like we're moving in pretty good situation right now, so just keep you updated on that. Any questions?
I have, on the affordable housing we were talking about, is that on the, would it be the north side of Mill Street?
Yeah, right, almost across the entrance of the north entrance of the school, Wiseguardian Mill.
Okay, how would it impact the housing that is there now?
So there is housing.
Would it be this?
It would be to the east, no, sorry, to the west of them. So there's a plot that was owned by Northeast Colorado Housing, and they have either sold it or they're doing a partnership with this group.
Okay.
So it's their property, several acres that's right there to the west of them. And they would probably use the same entrance to go with that.
That was, okay, that was my question, next question was interest.
Right.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Next, Jared Foss, Chief of Police.
Good evening again. I have only 3 items. My first 2 don't really fit in the budget process anywhere, but they are things I want to bring up to your attention. In April, you approved an IGA with the school district to create an SRO position in January, and our contribution is 25% of the salary to that, so I did submit a formal request for that because that is a new position we will have. And then the second thing, I also put in a request. We created a part-time CSO last year, 30 hours a week, and I'm asking to make that full-time. That has been a huge benefit for our department, and I would say for our community. I think making that full-time will be easier to fill as well. Our current part-time CSO has requested to become a police officer, so we'll be sending her to the academy in January.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Already have a good relationship with her, so I think she's looking out. And then the third thing, last week we did have a fire at the Tabor Apartments. I'm guessing most of you heard about that. At this point, we're still investigating it, but all appearances indicate that it was an accidental fire. We still have a little more to do on that this week, but we do not have any reason to believe it was caused by all. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Chief. Schlick, Director of Community Services.
I just have a real quick one. You know, I mentioned it during the budget process, but this week will be White's last week. And so I just want to again reiterate how important he was for the cemetery and for the city in general. And we are going to miss him out there. And we had a little celebration on Saturday night, and we had an open house last week. But Dwight was a very valuable resource for the city. And luckily, he's still sticking around, and he's very much willing to help us out wherever we need to. But again, just want to commend Dwight for his 35 years of service, and we wish him the best.
All right, thank you, guys. Young Colbert, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. It takes long to get a Chick-fil-A trial White Castle.
I want a Five Guys.
4 items to share with you tonight. Number one is sidewalk project is completed. They've signed the last of the documents, they packed up, and they're out of town. So currently, we own it, and we will be looking at what we can do to help keep that improved and as an open mode of transportation for those that might have limited mobility. So we're very happy with the project, and it's been a great improvement. And I thank everybody, especially the citizens that had to put up with the inconvenience and the frustrations that they did. So I want to thank them from the very beginning. Next item has been well anticipated, and that is our community cleanup day. We canceled it during the spring because of certain conditions out at the landfill, and so beginning the week of November 1, we'll be doing our community cleanup day. And again, it's only going to be for the day that you normally set out your trash. If you set it out, anything that we pick up afterwards, it will be a special pickup. And of course, there are restrictions on what we can take. No batteries, no hazardous materials, no liquids. There's a complete list that's available. Third, we have the flashing crosswalk signs in place in and around the Brush Secondary campus. The school district did purchase these 4 signals. They are located in 2 different areas, one at Wiseguardian and then one at Emerson, and they are linked together. And so when an individual will press the button, they both flash from both sides. Keep in mind that we will be installing stop bars tomorrow, so our motoring public know where they need to stop once the signs start flashing. So we're getting closer on that. And finally, it's a bit of a heavy heart that I'd like to report to you that a member of our water team, Chance Green, very knowledgeable, very popular, great trainer, passed away Friday at 2:15 in the hospital. And so he was slated to take over for Don Herring, and he retires in 10 months. However, this is looked at. So I just ask that you keep his wife Renee and the family in thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Packard, City Clerk.
Just one for the next action for the Reconstruction projects. Tonight's video is down on our camera. We tried to troubleshoot, we had IT troubleshoot before the council meeting tonight. We don't have a camera that's up in here, so the angle is going to be
Dan Kropp, City Attorney. Yeah.
Just real briefly, I went to the CML attorney section, and some of this last week, I got some updates on issues that the police were facing, their chief is, well ahead of one of their places. Also some important issues that you can, this afternoon, so,
no time? Was that the end?
November 5th?
November 5th?
Did you ever look at that one, Derek?
We want to get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who's gonna, somebody on it?
We'll, yeah.
Okay, Dan, is that concludes your report, or you got more?
I'm happy enough to do it if you have any questions, if not, it's the mayor's signature.
Okay.
On the board document, I believe, but yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, Marty Trez, City Administrator.
Okay, just a couple items. One, we had an employees meeting today, and the employees meeting, the first order of business was talk about the priorities of the city. We feel it's really important from all employees, from their views or their positions. They all understand the council priorities, so we covered, handed out a copy of each one of those at each table so they could review those, and then I highlighted a few of those, just so they're tracking those priorities as well. We also, I mentioned we had a government entity that reached out today, and they have an interest in working with us on some of our city properties, a city property, to see about locating one of their offices. So I'll be visiting with Rick tomorrow. Talk about that. We're gonna set up, with some of the state officials, a field trip out here to look at a couple different sites. So we'll reach back out tomorrow. And then, I'm not sure if the council's aware, but Joanne's not here tonight because she had a sister pass away. So if you get a chance, give her a call, text, or visit. So yeah.
All right. Mayor, council reports. Anyone have anything to report tonight from council?
Not a report per se, but I guess this is our last meeting until election day. Just hope everybody gets out and votes. It'd be nice to see our participation jump up a bunch.
Okay.
Something I wanted to share that I saw, I think it was in Alliance, Nebraska, when I was passing through there, that I thought was pretty neat. And it was the city had built it, but it was a food truck court. And they provided like a shelter kind of in the middle with some seating, and then there was bathrooms there. And then food trucks just pull in there and kind of have this like food court for the day, and I thought it was kind of a neat idea, and I'd never seen one before. And so
Where was that at?
I think it was an Alliance.
Alliance,
Nebraska.
okay.
I don't know, I went through so many towns and cities in South Dakota, I don't remember what they all were, but yeah, that was something that stood out that was kind of really cool, and it'd be a way to, try to bring some newer food to the area, and
Yeah,
kind of a neat,
we have a few around here.
yeah.
Have them all converge like a wagon train
Yeah,
and
it was
circle the wagon.
a cool idea. They all just pile around there, and then there was bathrooms and everything available, so it's just
Okay,
like a real easy thing to do, so.
all right. Anything else? Good. I want to say you did a great job with Dwight's retirement Saturday night. Lance ran that program, and they cooked steaks for the people there, but it was a very heartwarming thing too, and such a long-term employee that Dwight's been there, so it was a very good event, so. Right, with that,
Hospital Gala was the same night, and they were wondering why there was no city employees there. I'm like, now I know.
oh, no, this was the same night.
Was it this Saturday night? Yeah.
It was last Saturday night.
Yeah, it was last,
Oh, okay.
Dwight's was last Saturday.
So there's no excuse then.
I guess
Could have left it alone, right?
I knew I should have left that alone. We did have a full table at the City
No.
Hall. We did.
Allison was the only one that showed up. Well, Kevin was
I
helping.
put that for a minute.
And then I was with my equitable table, but Allison and Matthew were the only ones sitting at the.
I thought we had a full table when I heard it was 7 people signed up. Some didn't.
It's reserved for the whole day.
I was gonna come, but I ended
Oh, that's right.
up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never know when to shut up. Okay, I'll shut up. Let's adjourn the meeting. There's no work session tonight, so I think we're done. Thanks, everybody.